You're all welcome to today's news analysis. This is not noise. This is serious. If you care about Nigeria, stay with me. Before we start, please subscribe, like this video, and turn on notifications. We break things down in clear English, for real Nigerians. Now listen closely. Burkina Faso leader, Ibrahim Traoré, has sent a strong message. Not to the streets. Not to activists. But straight to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. His message is very simple. That one has shaken politics, justice, and Nigeria's image. Let's break it down. Ibrahim Traoré did not whisper. He spoke clear. The message did not come as a threat. It did not come as an insult. It came as a direct political statement that quickly crossed borders and entered serious discussion. Traoré, the leader of Burkina Faso, openly called on Nigeria's president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to look again at the case of Nnamdi Kanu. He did not speak in vague terms. He did not hide his meaning. He pointed to a clear example already known to Nigerians, the case of Sunday Igboho. According to Traoré, the Nigerian government handled Sunday Igboho with restraint. Igboho openly agitated for a separate Yoruba nation. His words were loud. His movement gained attention. Yet, he was not given a life sentence. He was not locked away inside Nigeria's prison system for good. The matter was managed through politics, law, and diplomacy. Traoré asked a simple but heavy question. If Sunday Igboho's case could be handled that way, why should Nnamdi Kanu's case be different? He went further. Traoré noted that President Tinubu and Sunday Igboho share the same ethnic background. Both are Yoruba. This point was not made to accuse, but to highlight perception. In politics, perception matters almost as much as action. Once people begin to see imbalance, trust begins to weaken. Nnamdi Kanu, leader of IPOB, also agitated for separation. His message focused on Biafra. His movement caused tension. His words sparked strong reactions. But Traoré argued that agitation, by itself, should not lead to unequal outcomes based on region or tribe. This statement landed hard because of timing. Nnamdi Kanu was reportedly sentenced to life imprisonment on November 20th. Not long after, news emerged that he had been moved to Sokoto prison. To many Nigerians, this move carried symbolic weight. Sokoto is far from the southeast. It felt distant, firm, and final. Traoré's concern was not limited to Nigeria's internal politics. He spoke from a wider African view. He warned that how Nigeria handles sensitive cases like this one affects how Africa is seen globally. Nigeria is not just any country. It is Africa's most populous nation. Its choices send messages beyond its borders. In Traoré's view, continued detention of Nnamdi Kanu under life sentence risks deepening division. It risks feeding the idea that justice is selective. Whether that idea is true or not, once it spreads, it becomes difficult to control. He suggested that releasing Nnamdi Kanu, or at least reviewing the case with openness, could calm tensions. It could help Nigeria project fairness, strength, and maturity. To him, leadership is not only about punishment. It is also about balance. This message gained attention because it came from an unexpected place. Traoré is not a Western leader. He is not speaking from Europe or America. He is an African leader speaking to another African leader, publicly and directly. That alone gave the message weight. For many observers, this was not interference. It was commentary shaped by shared continental challenges. Africa has long struggled with separatist movements, ethnic tension, and questions of unity. Traoré's statement placed Nigeria's situation within that larger African struggle. The reaction was immediate. Some Nigerians welcomed the message. They saw it as bold and honest. Others rejected it, saying Nigeria's internal matters should remain internal. But even critics agreed on one thing. The message could not be ignored. By mentioning Sunday Igboho and Nnamdi Kanu in the same breath, Traoré forced a comparison many had avoided. Once such a comparison is made openly, it becomes difficult for leaders to dismiss it without response. This is why this phase matters. It is not about rumor or emotion. It is about a clear political statement, made in public, with consequences. A statement that placed Nigeria's justice system, leadership choices, and global image under a bright light. And once that light is on, it rarely switches off quietly. The pressure on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not come suddenly. It built up quietly and then grew louder after Ibrahim Traoré's statement entered public space. What made it serious was not only who spoke, but what was said and how it connected to existing concerns inside Nigeria. President Tinubu is dealing with a sensitive national issue at a time when Nigeria's unity remains fragile. Ethnic trust is thin. Political tension is high. Every decision taken at the top is now judged not only by law, but by balance, fairness, and long-term impact. This is why the Nnamdi Kanu case continues to attract attention far beyond the courtroom. Traoré's intervention placed Tinubu in a difficult position. Ignoring the comment could appear dismissive. Responding carelessly could worsen the situation. Staying silent allows public debate to grow on its own, often without control. In modern politics, silence is also a statement. The argument raised by Traoré touches on equality before the law. Nigerians are not asking that laws be broken. Many are asking whether the same standards apply across regions and ethnic groups. This question has followed Nigeria for decades, and each high-profile case reopens it. The handling of Sunday Igboho created a reference point. Once a reference exists, future cases are measured against it. That is the challenge facing the Tinubu administration. People now compare outcomes, not intentions. They compare consequences, not explanations. Nnamdi Kanu's life sentence, announced on November 20th, intensified this comparison. Life imprisonment is the strongest punishment short of death. It signals finality. It signals closure. For supporters, it feels like rejection. For critics, it feels like strength. For neutral observers, it raises questions about proportional response. The transfer of Kanu to Sokoto prison added another layer. Prison location matters politically, even when legally justified. Distance from home region can be read as punishment beyond the sentence itself. Whether intended or not, perception again becomes reality in public debate. Tinubu's leadership style has always leaned toward political calculation. He is known as a strategist, not a reactionary leader. This makes the current moment important. The decision to maintain the status quo or seek a new approach will define how his presidency is remembered on matters of national cohesion. International attention has also grown. Nigeria's partners, investors, and allies watch internal stability closely. Ethnic unrest, prolonged detention of separatist figures, and unresolved regional grievances can affect confidence. Traoré's statement simply brought this concern into open discussion. Supporters of the government argue that Kanu's actions crossed legal boundaries and must carry consequences. They insist that law and order must stand, regardless of emotion or external opinion. This view holds weight, especially among those who fear that leniency could encourage more unrest. However, others argue that justice is not only about punishment but about resolution. They believe prolonged detention without political engagement hardens positions on all sides. History across Africa shows that unresolved political grievances often return stronger, not weaker. This is the balance Tinubu must consider. Strength without dialogue can deepen division. Dialogue without structure can weaken authority. Finding the middle ground is difficult, but leadership often demands difficult choices. Traoré's message did not order Tinubu to act. It challenged him to reflect. It asked whether Nigeria wants to lead Africa only in size and economy, or also in conflict management and fairness. That question now sits at the center of public discussion. The administration has so far avoided dramatic moves. This suggests careful calculation. Yet time itself applies pressure. The longer a sensitive issue remains unresolved, the more meanings people attach to it. Narratives grow. Emotions harden. Compromise becomes harder. This is why this phase is about pressure, not drama. Pressure from citizens. Pressure from history. Pressure from perception. Tinubu is not being forced, but he is being watched. And in politics, being watched can shape decisions as much as direct opposition. The next steps, whether visible or quiet, will signal how this government understands unity, justice, and leadership in a deeply diverse nation. The discussion around Nnamdi Kanu has now moved beyond courtrooms and security briefings into the wider question of Nigeria's future direction. What began as a legal case has grown into a national and continental debate about unity, justice, and leadership responsibility. At this stage, the issue is no longer only about one man, but about what Nigeria represents to itself and to the world. Nigeria has always carried weight in Africa. Its population, economy, culture, and political influence make it impossible to ignore. Because of this, every major internal decision sends signals beyond its borders. Allies observe closely. Neighbors draw lessons. Critics take notes. This is why the handling of sensitive cases matters far more than many leaders expect. Ibrahim Traoré's intervention framed the Nnamdi Kanu matter as an image issue as much as a legal one. In his view, continued detention under a life sentence risks presenting Nigeria as rigid and divided, especially when compared with how other separatist figures were treated. Whether one agrees or not, that framing has gained traction in public discussion. Inside Nigeria, opinions remain sharply divided. Some citizens believe releasing Kanu would weaken the state and embolden separatist movements. They argue that the law must speak clearly, without compromise, to protect national stability. This perspective is rooted in fear of fragmentation and the painful memory of past conflicts. Others see the situation differently. They believe that strict punishment without political engagement does not resolve underlying grievances. To them, dialogue and reconciliation are tools of strength, not weakness. They argue that unity cannot be enforced by detention alone, but must be built through inclusion and fairness. This divide reflects a larger national challenge. Nigeria is a country of many identities, histories, and wounds. Managing these differences has always required careful balance. When that balance is lost, even lawful actions can appear unjust to sections of the population. President Tinubu now stands at a defining moment. His choice will shape not only this case, but how his administration is remembered in matters of national unity. Leaders are often judged less by economic figures and more by how they handled moments of deep tension. This is one of those moments. Releasing Nnamdi Kanu would not automatically solve the Southeast's concerns. Keeping him detained will not automatically end agitation either. The outcome depends on what follows. Policy decisions, political outreach, and genuine dialogue will matter more than any single action. Africa's history offers lessons. Countries that ignored political grievances often faced recurring unrest. Countries that addressed them with patience and clarity often found stability over time. These lessons are not guarantees, but they provide guidance. Nigeria's image is also at stake. In a global environment where narratives travel fast, perception shapes reality. Investors, partners, and international institutions factor political stability into their decisions. How Nigeria navigates this issue will influence confidence in its long-term cohesion. Traoré's statement placed Nigeria under a continental spotlight, but the final decision remains Nigeria's alone. Sovereignty allows choice, but leadership demands wisdom. The challenge is to act in a way that reduces tension rather than deepening it. As discussions continue, one thing is clear. This issue will not disappear quietly. It will continue to shape conversations in homes, media spaces, and political circles. The government's next move, whether bold or cautious, will carry meaning. Nigeria has faced difficult choices before and survived. This moment tests not its strength, but its maturity. How leaders respond will tell a story about the kind of nation Nigeria wants to be, both for its people and for Africa at large. As this issue continues to unfold, it is clear that the case of Nnamdi Kanu has become a mirror reflecting deeper national questions. What Nigeria decides to do next will not only affect one individual or one region, but will also shape public confidence in the country's justice system and political leadership. The comparison with Sunday Igboho has remained central to the debate. For many Nigerians, it is not about supporting separatism or rejecting the rule of law. It is about consistency. When similar actions appear to receive different outcomes, suspicion grows. In a country as diverse as Nigeria, trust in institutions depends heavily on the belief that no group is favored over another. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu faces a decision that goes beyond legal interpretation. It is a political and symbolic moment. Any move, whether to maintain the current position or to review the case, will send a strong signal. That signal will be read differently across regions, political lines, and even outside the country. The international dimension cannot be ignored. Statements from African leaders like Ibrahim Traoré show that Nigeria's internal affairs are no longer viewed in isolation. As Africa's most influential nation, Nigeria is often seen as a reference point. Its handling of internal conflict sets an example, whether intentionally or not. At the same time, the government must balance public order and national security. There are real concerns about unrest, precedent, and authority. These concerns are valid and cannot be dismissed lightly. However, unresolved political tensions also carry long-term risks that are harder to measure but equally serious. This is why many analysts believe the way forward lies not in extremes, but in careful engagement. Clear communication, transparent legal processes, and political dialogue can help reduce speculation and calm emotions. Silence and delay, on the other hand, allow rumors and mistrust to grow. Ultimately, this moment will be remembered not for the arguments made online, but for the decisions taken at the highest level. Nigeria has the opportunity to show that strength and fairness can exist together. How this opportunity is handled will influence national unity, regional stability, and Nigeria's standing across Africa. For now, the situation remains open. The country waits. The region watches. And the choices ahead will speak louder than any statement made so far.